Hi, Sandy.
Good morning to everyone. I'm glad to have you here this Saturday morning. We're always excited to see everybody's smiling faces, and it's always interesting to hear the difference in areas. We take the Canadian zone, they're talking about how cold it is, and we get the Floridian zone and the Arizona folks, and they're like, "Yeah, it's cold here. It's about 70 degrees, and I got to put on, long pants." So it's all about relative and what's going on. But guys, I'm so excited this morning. I was literally thinking in my mind, who was I going to have this Saturday morning? I was looking through Facebook and just seeing posts. And I saw one of Stephane's. I always love reading his posts because they're so well thought out. He don't just post for the heck of it. He's actually, he really puts thought into what he's saying. And I just love reading his posts. Even though I may not comment much, I might just click like. There was something about his post this week that really stuck with me, and I actually commented on it, and then immediately he probably wishes he hadn't made that post right then, because I immediately texted him, "What about Saturday morning? I'd like to have you as a guest again." I think what I actually said was, "I'd like to have you as a guest again on my," he's been here before, "but I'd like to have you as a guest again." And he said yes. I said, "What about this Saturday?" I don't think I gave you, and he immediately said yes. And what I want you to know is, I was trying to figure it up, Stephane, how long we've known each other, but I'm thinking it's about 13 years. Am I correct?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And for those that don't know, Stephane and I, we're cross lines. We're not from the same team at all. But I met Stephane, if I'm not mistaken, the weekend I met you was these famous drops that now have become an icon in our company.
The secret sauce,
The secret
the
sauce.
ugly brown bucks.
Yeah, y'all don't realize all the transitions. That was an ugly brown with a little blue in it. It was a nasty looking, terrible packaging. But guys, things have changed. And here's what you got to understand: everything's a transition. But Stephane, I met, I believe it was Park City, if I'm not mistaken. So the atmosphere, the place was great. So we're up in the mountains where the snow skiing's going on, and we met. I was just so impressed with him that day that I never really, I mean, it was, you meet a lot of people. I think that's the first day, I'd met Tim Sales before, but that's the first day I met Stephane. And what I realized was, and a lot of times in this industry, you meet people and they give you an impression and you don't know, because I'm one of these, I'm an old school guy. As obviously I'm the old man here. Somebody can impress you, but that don't mean they're going to long-term impress you. And after 13 years, I can honestly say that everything I thought about him that day and how impressed I was is only increased. He's just been a good friend. We've actually shared the stage a couple of times, and I have a picture where I was laughing so hard, and I remember the story. We won't get you to tell unless you want to, but I laughed so hard because we were on a panel and we got questions. We don't really know what they're going to be, and he and I were sitting beside each other, and I have a picture somebody sent me because he made me laugh so hard that I almost was crying. But with all that, I want you to understand what makes him so special is, and he and his wife Claudia, and I should have asked for her too, but I hated to ask for a lady to get up so early, and I get in trouble with the ladies making them get on. They're a powerhouse couple that have gone through, and that's what people don't understand. Real business is up and down. It's never going to be perfect. And he just made some posts this week, and I asked him, would he come on and just share his thoughts about this industry, about what has made him so successful? Because guys, I've watched him rise to the very top, be the number one power ranker in the world, and then business collapse and then go back up. And that's one of the things that I try to teach, is because people always talk about me being the entrepreneur. Because guys, I was thinking about this the other day. I've only had two W-2 forms for the US folks. W-2 form is what we get when we work for another person. So I'm almost 70 years old. I'll be 70 my next birthday. And I've had two my entire life. That's not to brag. It's just to mean that I want you to understand I've always had, that doesn't mean I made every money all the time. I assure you, it's been ups and downs. But I've had an entrepreneur mindset all of my life. I didn't want to work for other people. And I felt like that was a lot. That's why Stephane and I've always felt we had a connection, because I think that was kind of his personality too. He wanted to be that. He's always been an entrepreneur. So with that, Stephane, thanks for being on. I'm just get right to it. I want you to give us at least a little bit about your background before you start, because this is recorded, and people, I mean, a lot of people on here know your story, but I still think it's good that we need to share it, because if this is shared for people to say, look, have different backgrounds. So thanks for being
Sure.
on.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to share. And you were talking about this box. Well, this is what we used to sell. Let me show you. This is it. This was the box of drops. And it literally had a sticker on it that said secret sauce. That's how we started with the drops. So when people say, oh, it's hard, you know, we, we need some more things, we need whatever, this is what we had. That's how we got started. And actually, Chris was talking about this picture. There you go. I added some funny text over it.
That
But
is it.
yeah, that was fun. I'll tell you more about that story a little bit later. But what happened is I was a very shy guy. I don't know how many of you here are introverts. I'd love to hear. Let me know in the comments. You know, just say yes if you are introvert. I still feel that I am introvert, right? But I'm able to speak now in front of a public. I'm able to. If you put me in the context of network marketing, I can go on for hours, right? But take me out of there, I have no clue what to talk about. All right. And so I was this shy guy. And even when I got started in this industry, my mom never told me. She waited like years later until I became successful to tell me that she thought that was a big mistake that I do this business because I would never succeed in this. But being a good mom that she was, she never told me that. The thing is, my father was in Amway. And back in those days, that was in the 70s, they had these book of the month, tape of the week, all about personal development. And I got my first book, I was 16 years old, and it was The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I read that book, I devoured that book. I just immersed myself into personal development, and I realized there's so much more that we can do just if we start to believe. And so, being naive when you're young, you haven't had bad experiences, nothing major happened in your life. So, you start to believe whatever you want to believe. And so, I started to believe in my dreams of anything that I could set my mind to, I would accomplish. And so, the only company I knew existed in MLM was Amway. I didn't know there was any other company. And I decided to start my own MLM. I was 19, 20-year old. I started my own MLM. And the thing is, we started with a credit card with MasterCard International. I went to the 20th floor of the National Bank of Canada and came up with an agreement with them to launch the first co-branded card in Canada. And it was an MLM. And so, long story short, I did that business, but I realized that what I was passionate about in that business when I discovered network marketing was to help others. I felt that to me, it was being this introvert, shy guy, not many friends, that if I could help others, I would just have a team, a gang, a group of people that I could hang out with and help and have fun and create success. To me, that was my maybe coming out of being introvert or shy to being this person that is helpful. And so I love the network marketing thing. But the thing is, I was not running a traditional business because I was the owner of a company. And so I had to hire employees, negotiate, like all kinds of things I didn't like. I decided to shut down that company, join another MLM company. Back in those days, it was Excel Communication. I joined at the wrong time because they just shut down a few months later. Then I joined another company. It didn't work well. Joined another one. And I kept going like this. And here's what happened. One day, finally, I come up with this company. And the thing is, I didn't speak English, but I had big dreams. I hope you guys have these dreams that you believe and you see yourself. But here's what I did. Back in the days, I thought, I want to build a MLM business around the world. I want to have partners around the world. And so if I do that, I need to speak the language that is known almost around the world, which is English. And so I had to learn English. I didn't speak English. And so what I would do is I would buy these, I bought these CDs from Tim Sales, and I would listen to him over and over and over. And then I would start to pick up on a few words, just like a baby doesn't have a base language to learn from another language. It just starts from scratch. So that's what I did. And what I would do is I would record myself. I would listen to Tim, one phrase, record myself, the same phrase, listen back and forth and see which one sounds, okay, I need to adjust this. This doesn't sound right. That's how I self-taught myself English. Right? That's how it started. And so I kind of basically developed a friendship with Tim, and I could see myself working with Tim at some point because I was listening to him all the time. I was speaking like him all the time, and I even got on the phone with some people back in those days where people said, "Man, you sound like Tim Sells." And so I picked up on all his ways of talking, and of course I got rid of that over the years, developed my own speaking style. But that's what I did. And so it was a long journey, lots of challenges, lots of things that happened, but I had that I really wanted to create success, and I believed in it. And so after many, many, many years of failure in MLM, 16 years of joining a company, failed, another one failed, another one failed. I kept going. And people wonder, like, why are you keep going like this? One day my wife tells me, and I tell her, I say, what happened to me? Because when you met me, I wanted something, I got it. Right? I read these books and I wanted to have this car, I got the car. I wanted to have an agreement with MasterCard and the National Bank of Canada, I got it. I wanted to have $350,000 in my bank account to really build that company, and I got it. Everything I wanted, I got. She says, what do you mean? You don't remember why you failed after that? I said, no, you do. And she said, yes, because you kept complaining at night every time you came back from work that it was too easy. This was not your story. You didn't want a story of easy because you were reading these books. And in the books, it said Henry Ford went through all these challenges, and Walt Disney, all these challenges. And so Stephane Page, no challenges. Just everything you wanted, he got. I thought it was a bad story. So watch out for the words you say to yourself, because they come true. And so when she told me that, I said, oh my goodness, I can't believe I manifested the failure, the challenges. And I said, watch out, I'm back. And Chris, that's what happened is soon after that, I sponsored a lady who sponsored a guy who sponsored a lady. Then we opened South Korea. And so there were thousands of people joining. I remember flying over there to an event. There was over 1,000 people in the room. I opened the door, see all these people, and they're all on my team. This was just insane. And that leads me to the story before I move to something else, to the story on stage. So Dan, the VP in the US, he got us on stage with Chris, and he said, okay, guys, and he didn't prepare any of us. We didn't know what he was going to ask. And he said, what's the craziest place that you sponsored someone? And so I'm thinking, I don't know. Was it a parking lot? What is it? And then suddenly I thought about this one. And it was basically, I was on the toilet. I was sitting on the toilet at home. And I have this, back in the day, we used to have a magazine called Networking Times. And I had these magazines sitting next to the, toilet, because that was an old magazine. But, sometimes I like to review stuff. So I pick up the magazine, I open it, and I read a story about Indra, who's a top leader, and he was in Nucerity back in the day. And I'm reading his story, and I thought, wow, he's in Indonesia. Nucerity, we just acquired this company and we're not in Indonesia. What happened to him? So I got time. I pick my phone and I search on Facebook, find him, send him a message, drop the phone, and I don't have time to do anything else. The phone beeps and I pick the phone. It's him. And so we finally started to chat. Next thing you know, we acquired a company in Indonesia. 400,000 brand partners joined our team. 400,000. I mean, you click on your tree, there's no possibility you can go through the tree. It's just, it loads forever. It was just insane. So many people joined. That was during COVID. And what happened during that time is there was bad communication with the company and that company, and there's been all kinds of things that happened. So it lasted about almost a year, and then it just fell all apart. So we gained 400,000, we lost 400,000 brand partners. Now, some people sometimes, oh, I lost a new partner. I don't know if I'm going to continue. I was hoping this guy would do so well. And I'm like, okay, how many people did he bring with him? Like, how many left? Well, just him. I said, so you're telling me you're going to quit because one guy quit on your team? And why I'm telling you this is because we will have challenges. And many years ago, I asked him, so what are the challenges we're going to face in our business? And there's four. The first one is rejection. We all know about this. We're going to face rejection. That's going to happen. If you can face it and continue, you got one of the four and you can do very well. The second one is disrespect. People will say, are you kidding me? You're in one of those things. Oh, these drops, come on. I mean, it's homeopathy. That doesn't work, like whatever. All right. Disrespect. Third one is attrition. Attrition is when you bring people in and people quit, right? You're going to lose people. That's part of the game. And the fourth one is, so rejection, attrition, disrespect, and oh boy, I'm missing one. What is this one? Boy, I'll need to come back. If any one of you remember, let me know. But there are those challenges you will face, and it's normal. It's part of the game. It's going to happen. So if you're willing to continue, despite these things, you will succeed. You will succeed. So let me just find this one because I hate to disrespect. All right, so all right, I think I'm getting it. I don't know you guys if you use like what tools you use, but on my phone I use Dropbox. My whole computer is on my Dropbox, and so I have access to everything all the time, and so it's so super handy. Let's see.
While he's looking for that, I want to add something.
Yeah.
About what he just said, that he learned to speak English. And I have people making excuses over they don't get a return phone call. So this man spent, it wasn't a week or two. You don't learn English. Matter of fact, I'm not sure I still can speak it. I speak something similar in the Southern. I'm sure you have questions about some things I say because people all the time laugh. We don't really speak English. We speak some kind of Southern drawl. So, but he learned English so he could build a business. And I got people who are afraid to make a phone call, and they actually know they can speak the same language. So, I mean, now you probably found it. So we're going to let you go back.
Yeah, I got it. So the last one is deception. All right. So deception is you will be deceived. It's going to happen. You're going to have times where, things don't go as well as you want. And, it's part of the game. So those are the four things that Tim told me. He said rejection, deception, attrition, disrespect. That's it. If you can face those, you're going to do well. All right. And so that's all it is. When you look at any other thing, like Chris had a huge company, employees, I mean, so much trouble. I was running a traditional business with, a snowmobiles, and it was not easy sometimes. And you have all these bookings, and then you get to, Christmas, you can't wait. Your first group is coming, but then there's no snow. What do you do? All right. Here, all we have to do, we're sitting here in this chair, nice view, got a computer, you post something, and then you message someone. Worst thing, disrespect, attrition. So what? Keep going. That's what it is. So I try to tell you a part of my story. There's so many more things that happen, traveling to different places, and maybe I'll share just one about this deception. Okay, and then I will move to next step. So on deception, there's this guy that his name is John, and I'm starting to get traction in my business, but I'm still not full time. kind of struggling financially in the business here. It's at the beginning, and so it's tough. And so we got the credit cards almost all maxed, and I'm building this. We got kids. I got my traditional business. Lots of things going on. And so this guy finally, I said, this is my break. I'm finally getting one. This guy has built a big business before. He's a leader. And he said, I want to come to Utah and meet with the owners. I'm like, wow. Oh, yes, this is it. This is it. So I called Tim. I tell him, and Tim says, okay, good. When are you arriving? I said, well, could you go and meet with him? You're in Utah. And he says, oh, you're not coming. I said, well, I was thinking maybe you can meet with him. He says, well, I can certainly meet with him. But what will happen if he comes to the office and he gets to meet someone else and he decides that he's going to join with someone else? And I like, oh boy, I don't know. Like, so I should go. He said, yeah. So I tell my wife, and my wife's like, oh my gosh, yeah, but you got to go. And so again, put that on the credit card, fly over to Utah. And fortunately, I got a friend of mine, Arlene. She lives in Utah. She hosts me. So I'm there. And then it's the day before. So I arrived the day before, and I get a text message. And it's John. And he said, hey, Stephane, the hydraulic on the airplane broke. We can't leave. I'm trying to find another airplane. I've been going on around the airport for a little while. Can't find any. So we're going to meet another time. I know you have an event in Florida. I'll be there. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, get on the bus. Like, I'm not telling this, right? But I'm saying, like, I'm thinking, like, get on the bus, get a taxi. I don't know, do whatever it takes. You got to be here. But he doesn't show up. So next day come, the day goes by. I'm at the end of the day, and then Claudia calls me. And Claudia is like, so, how did it go? I'm like, oh, well, it's been a great day. I went out in the mountain with Arlene and Ennis. We had a good time. She said, what do you mean, Arlene and Ennis? The guy, the leader. What happened? And I, oh, yeah, the leader. What? Oh, yeah, the leader. What happened? And so I'm like freaking out. What's going on? What do I say to her? And I tell her the story, and she's like, oh, no, this is another one. Yes, deception. And even though Chris has been through those, I've been through those. If you're thinking your situation is bad, that's okay. You're on the right track. It's normal, right? To me, it's always been life testing me if I'm ready for the next chapter. That's always the way I've looked at this. All right. There's a challenge. That's normal. That's part of it. It's going to make me better in the future. Well, guess what? Now we're years down the road. Remember when I said that my wife was saying that I kept complaining, I didn't have a story, it was too easy? Well, I got my share of tough. Right? All kinds of things happen. Now I got an incredible story, and I could go on with tons of stories like this, but this is what it is. So, I don't know if you wanted to talk about this. I just want to talk about this. Okay. So let's talk about mindset, a little bit more on mindset, because if there's one thing that I've learned over the last 14 years in this industry, in this company, it's that most people right now at this time of the year, they basically check out between now and January. And then they wonder why they start the new year in the same place. They wonder, like, why? Like others are blowing up and they say, oh, the January is the time where business is blowing up, but mine is just, nothing is really happening. Well, the difference with top leaders is we think differently. We use November and December as our launch pad, not a vacation from our goals, right? So that's, unfortunately, yes, most people, they just slow down. Not because they need rest, but because mentally, they already decided the year is over. There's, preparation, there's Thanksgiving coming up, there's gonna be, buying all the gifts. There's a preparation, getting the family over. Like there's so many things happening. But if you're here today listening to mindset, training and setting goals on a weekend morning, you're not most people. So congratulations, right? First thing. And so let's talk about how leaders finish the year. How do we, what do we do exactly? And, personally, I used to fail consistently. All right. It was like one thing after the other, one company, another one didn't happen. I was failing. 16 years, I told you, right? Before my first real win. Failure was not an event. It was my identity. But everything changed when I stopped trying to be successful. And I started trying to win one thing, one small thing at a time. Micro goals, tiny wins, the stuff so small I couldn't fail. And that's why I want to bring you into something right now. Okay? And those goals would be, for example, message 3 people, follow up with 2, post once, watch 10 minutes of training, and that's it. Simple little things that everybody can do. And when I hit that goal, I set another one. And over time, those micro goals created something much more powerful than motivation. They created momentum. They add up. Momentum will take you to places that motivation never will. Never. So this time of the year, it's a great time to do this. People tell themselves one of the most expensive lies in the world. I'll start in January. Oh, that's expensive. Very expensive. So January doesn't magically give you any consistency. Consistency comes from momentum. And momentum is something that you build now, not later. So if you wait until January to fix your mindset, you start the year at 0. But if you start now, even tiny, you hit January already moving. And I can tell you from experience, it's a lot easier to accelerate a moving car than a parked one. All right. So remember this. So let me give you the exact mindset or the structure that I use every year around this time. Not, right? It's not going to be like 10 actions, 1. And people fail because they try to change their whole life in one shot. Yeah, of course, you look at everybody in the company, they're, rank advancing, there's all these things going on, but you're in your own little world. You're not going to change everything overnight. It happens one thing at a time. So leaders win because they focus on winning the day, winning today, just today. All right. So ask yourself every morning, what's the one thing that I can win today that will move my business forward? And then do that and win the day. So we're heading into Black Friday, and people think Black Friday is the weekend, but the real work, it's now. You want your tools ready. You want your stories ready. You want your scripts ready. You want conversations already warm. So what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks is I've been messaging people. You all have a list of friends on Facebook, and typically it's about 300 friends. And at 68% of people that are overweight, that's 290 or 204 people that need to lose weight. All right? They're not ready maybe, but they are. So, they need to. So what do? You message. Now, I don't reach out to Chris. Now, Chris is in the business, but let's say he's not in the business. I don't reach out to Chris and say, hey, you want to be on my list? No, I reach out to Chris. Hey, Chris, how have you been? Man, it's been a while. We haven't talked. What's going on? How's the family? Is your daughter still in fitness? That's it. Just reconnect. If you do that every single day, and I do it with 20 people a day, I do that every single day, like quick message, easy. I don't go for an hour conversation. It's just a quick message. What do you think happens when promotions hit, when I'm posting? Then these people see my posts, react, things are happening. Right? So it's a moment, it's a momentum event. That's what's going on. So Black Friday is coming up, but you need to build that momentum towards it. And it's the easiest time of the year to create micro wins because the energy is already high. People are ready for this. And so you're not here to see how many people, or how many packs you can sell in 48 hours. You're here to build something that pays you for years. I mean, Chris has been enjoying this income coming in every single week for 13 years. And so, yes, you will sell. Yes, you will do all this, but it's the connections you're going to make with people. All right. So when you think long term, you show up differently. You lead differently, and people feel that. And at the end of the day, everything I've talked about comes down to identity. You can choose to be someone who waits for momentum or someone who actually create momentum. You can choose to be someone who stops because the year is ending or someone who finishes the year like a leader and start the next one already in motion. And that's micro goals. So what I'll do right now is let me just open my computer and I'll just share with you something. This is something that every one of you can do. You can do by yourself, okay? It's something you don't have to do with a team, but if you do have a team or if you're cross-line and you want to do it together, you can do that. To me, this is the best I've ever seen in goal setting and goal achievement. I've done many different things, but this to me has been what worked the best. All right, so I'm just going to share that and slideshow. There we go. Okay, it's called a 6-week sprint. And again, don't look at this as little something like take notes and implement. This is the easiest thing to do, but this is going to have the most impact. What I've personally experienced is every time I've set goals, what I've noticed is that I can achieve more in 6 weeks than I do in 6 months with this. It's super simple. So what we do is, all right, I'm going to skip this one. Okay. What is a 6-week sprint? So it's a short focus period, 6 weeks, where a small group commits to very specific goals. All right. So you decide what your goals are going to be. I don't tell you what your goals should be. You decide. Okay. And you combine mastermind principles, accountability, and clear action steps. I'll show you how. Designed to accelerate learning and achievement. And everyone, you want to set 1 to 3 goals. Okay. It can be just 1 goal. It can be 2. It can be 3. They need to be meaningful. Meaning if you're already talking to 5 people a day, then I would say, well, maybe bump it up a little bit. It needs to be challenging. It needs to mean something. But don't set a goal that's so high that you're just demotivated. I told you, you're going to win the day. You're going to win the race by building your own confidence, right, in yourself. And someone is asking, like, can you send I can send you those sheets, okay, if you don't want to take screenshots. But just understand that the principle here. All right, so let's go. Let's go real quick. All right, so why 6 weeks? Because it's long enough to create real progress and new habits in your business. But it's short enough to stay urgent and focused, because sometimes if it's too long, then we lose track. We get sidetracked. So it needs to be short and motivated. Breaks. So what you'll do is you can take your big long-term goals, 1, 2, 3, 5-year goals, and you break them down into smaller, achievable segments. I told you earlier, right? You have these big goals. You don't change your whole life in one shot. It's going to be small little things that you control. All right. Help people experience quick wins instead of someday goals. All right. That's the goal here. All right. Who should participate? Well, this is from experience. What I've seen is that I only do it with people who are already in the action, who are highly motivated, because otherwise they decrease the energy of the group. They don't hit their goals. They begin to report their stats, but they haven't done anything. So I want people who are engaged, who are hungry, who want to make things happen. Okay, that's my criteria. What will participants get from a sprint? Well, real progress in their business and personal goals in 6 months, 6 weeks, new skills, confidence, better habits. I'll tell you why in a moment. Support from the network, because every week, actually, I'll tell you in a minute because I don't want to skip here. But there's a lot of great things, but I'll tell you the structure, how it works. So how the sprint works. So you create a small group, maximum, I would say 6 to 8 people. That's usually the best, okay? It's gonna last 60 minutes to 90 minutes. It can be in person or online, it's fine, okay? Each person has their 1 or 3 goals, very clear. The goals need to be broken down into weekly action steps, okay? So if you say, I wanna sponsor 5 people, well, okay, how do you do that? Well, I need to have a list. Okay, make a list, that's one of the tasks. Post daily. Okay, I need to have my posts ready. So these are the tasks. Okay, and each meeting, what you'll do is you'll be accountable. So you'll reveal your stats of the week. You'll tell the team what happened during the week. You'll have coaching from the rest of the team. So all of that is happening right now. Okay, I'll get deeper in a moment. So example of 6-week goals can be personal income, could be sponsorship, could be achievement level, personal development, recognition. It doesn't matter. The key is they need to be measurable. If someone says, well, I want to make more money, that's not measurable. How much? If someone is new in the business, they haven't made any money, I prefer they set a goal that they control, like actions. For example, they haven't made any money yet. I'm going to say, okay, make your 2 posts a day. That is one of your goals. Okay, that should be one of your goals. What else? Okay, so you list goals that you control. You control actions, you don't control results. If you have experience, you know, okay, I know how to make $1,000 because I just need to do this, and it's going to lead me to 1,000. Good. Now you can set an income goal. All right. So that's what you need to do, is you need to make sure that your goal you control, not just wishy-washy or something that you don't control. And so yeah, you can start with your long-term goal and then you break it down. Okay. And you can ask yourself, what can I achieve in the next 6 weeks that will move towards that, the big goal? Choose 1 or 3. Realistic, I just told you that. Break it down in small activities for each week. Keep it simple, measurable, and action-based. All right, I just mentioned all of this, so I'm kind of ahead of my slides. So this is an example, okay? What you can do is at the top, that would be your goals or your 3 goals. Again, could be 1, 2, or 3 goals. What you'll do is each week, you're going to report. You say, okay, if I want to sponsor, X number of people, let's say it's 6. You're going to put 6 in the goal column. That's the goal. And then if you've done, let's say you sponsored 2, so 2 divided by 6, so you're at 33% of your goal. Okay. And the same for the next one and the next one. And then you do a total of all 3 goals where you're at. And the other thing you will measure every single week is your integrity. And your integrity is what you said you will do this week. How many of those items you made on the list, you wrote on the list, that you actually completed? So if you said, well, this week I'm going to do my 2 posts a day, I'm going to reach out to 5 people a day, I'm going to, whatever. Okay, you have your list. And so you say you have 10 items and you completed 8, you're at 80% integrity. Each week, the goal add up. Because once you've done, 33%, let's say, of your goal, then next week you're at least at 33%. All right, so it's going to be 33 and more. So each week it adds up. But the integrity reset back to 0 because it's 1 week, another week. So you just say this week, this is what I'm going to do. And then the following week, this is what I'm going to do. And the following week, this is what I'm going to do. So basically, every week it's different. You can have 8 tasks this week, 10 next, 5 the other one. So every week it's going to be different. And what I suggest you do, because you're a team, you should have a team captain that gathers all of this data. And then every week, when you do the calculation, you add all the numbers and you say, okay, Mark, he did 20%. Stephane, he did 18. Leticia, she did 23. And so then you add up all the stats and you have a team score for the goal. And the same for integrity. This is where the accountability, the support, and here's what I found. Many people will do more for others than they do for themselves. And because you know you're accountable, you're accounting for the team. If you miss your stats, you didn't do your actions, guess what happened? It decreases the team score. You don't want that. You don't want to be the person that decreases the team stats. So what do? You perform. You do things you would probably never do if it was just for you. Why do we do all of this? Again, back to the mindset that I told you about, small wins. Because what we need to do is to change your identity. Your identity needs to become the person that set goals and achieves them. And unfortunately, many of us are stuck in a situation where our whole life we have accumulated all kinds of things that didn't happen. We set goal, it didn't work. We set another goal, it didn't work. So what is our identity? It's someone who's not achieving their goals. We want to change that. And we're going to change it one little goal at a time. Now you're gaining with this, you're gaining full control of your business and full control of your own identity. And you're becoming someone who's actually a goal achiever, one step at a time, super simple. So role of the group leader, it's got to clarify expectations and commitments at the beginning, okay? So for example, I'm going to get the team together. Hey guys, we're going to meet every week. All of you can meet every week? Yes. Okay, at this time, perfect. Every week, you're going to have 10 minutes to talk. First, we need your stats. Okay, so you set the expectations for everyone. Keep the structure and time of the meetings on track, because that's an easy one where many people will talk forever. They'll, oh, this is what happened this week, blah, 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 blah. No. We got 10 minutes each person. Otherwise, we're going to be here for 3 hours. We don't want that. We want dynamic things, that are happening. Facilitate sharing, support, and constructing feedback, right? Because here's what I do every week, and I think I have it a little bit later. But anyway, I'll tell you. So what I do when the meeting every week happens, so I'm getting, the whole team is there. Perfect. Chris, we start with you. What are your stats? So Chris is sharing, at 33%. And what's your integrity? Well, a lot of things happen. Now, that doesn't fit in the box. The only thing that fits in the box is a number. Okay, yeah. Well, my number is pretty low. That's too long. I need a number. And then Chris said, it's 50%. Okay. So I got the numbers. Perfect. Now you got 10 minutes. Tell me, how did your week go? What happened? And he shares. What I found is when I do this, everybody on the call is learning. Because unfortunately, we're all by ourselves at home in our own little world. We don't see what's happening out there. But when we do this every week, I got my 6, 7, 8 people together, and then we share. Here's what happened during my week. Here's my win. Here's my struggle. And then someone else like Anne, she's there on the beach. Even though she's on the beach, she's giving me advice that, I faced the same challenge. Here's what I did. So I'm learning, but she's coaching and everybody's learning. So we're helping each other, right? This is something that you don't see often, but this is how it works. And you can't do a group like this with 1,000 people. I mean, it has to be just small little groups. And if you have a big team, you divide in multiple groups. I've done those where we had like 10, 15 of those groups going on at the same time. All right. And so there was a team captain for each one. Super easy. All right. Expectations for participants. So show up on time for every meeting. All right. We need to do that. If someone is going to be late, whatever, they need to tell the group before. And if I can't make it, like it happened, like we have a group going on right now, and one person said, well, I can't do this because I have a cruise coming up. And I said, that's okay. We know in advance. Can you share your stats before our meeting? Because if you don't share your stats, we can't put the total of the group stats together. So you share before and you share what happened, all of this. She said, okay, good, I can do that. Okay, so that's expectations. Be honest about what worked and what didn't. Support others, share ideas, and celebrate wins. Respect confidentiality and time of the group. Okay, so these are expectations of participant. Before the sprint starts, define who will be in the group. All right, 3 to 8 people works well. You can be by yourself. I've done this initially by myself. Initially, that's what I did. But eventually we were 2. And then eventually we went and had multiple groups. You choose a group leader, schedule all weekly meetings in advance. So time, date, usually it's the same each week. Explain the sprint concept and commitment to all participants and ask everyone to start thinking about their 6-week goals. If you're a leader, what I love about this is I get to know what my team is doing. Because how many of you have team members and you have no clue, like, did they work this week? Did they do their thing? You don't want to be a boss, checking on everyone, but it's actually a good thing to see that they're in the action. And if they're struggling with something, you're there, you can help. But if this is not happening, you actually have no clue. But with this, so it really, really helps. Everyone thinking about their 6-week goals. Yeah, there you go. Preparation meeting. So the kickoff class. So the goal, the first meeting that we do. Okay, the team agreed. We're going to participate. Perfect. We're going to do a first meeting Monday. Boom. This time. Perfect. We get on. Clarify how the sprint works and what's expected. Help everyone finalize their 6-week goals. Okay, because sometimes they say, well, I want to do the new app and do the tokens. Okay, we need to clarify that, because how do we measure this? Oh, well, we can measure by number of tokens. Perfect. How many tokens are you going to earn each week? And so 6 weeks, that's going to be how many? That's one thing we can do. All right. So you help everyone finalize their 6-week goals. Agree on group rules and accountability standards. Decide the training topics. That's another thing that you can do. You don't have to. But sometimes what I've done, especially when it's in person, on Zoom, I found it's too long. But if it's in person, is I got everybody okay, we meet, but after our meeting, we do a training session. Okay, and I'll give you examples of topics and things you can cover. But decide training topics and then make sure everyone is truly committed. Preparation meeting, simple agenda. So preparation meeting, welcome, introduction, purpose of the sprint, review what a sprint is, how it works, what I did today. Each person shares their 6-week goals, their draft, so we can help. Group helps clarify, sharpen the goals, decide training topics and who will teach what that week, confirm meeting schedule and rules, closing and next steps. I don't think you were expecting this morning. But anyway, I'm giving you...
Great, I love it. Keep going.
Because this can help you finish the year strong, but it can help you start the year strong as well. So you could do back-to-back, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, okay? So that's an easy thing. Creating a training agenda. So that's how you do this. Ask what skills and topics would help us reach our goals faster. List topics together: prospecting, follow-up, social media, mindset, etc. Okay. Assign one main topic for each weekly meeting. Invite different members to facilitate or co-facilitate, because it shouldn't be on the team captain responsibility to do all the training. Well, you can train on this part, you're going to train on that part, and so everybody prepares a training for the others. Invite different members to facilitate or co-facilitate, and then aim for practical how-to training with clear actions. I like that. Okay, I like the motivation and all of this, but I like very specific things people can act on. So weekly meeting flow. This is how it works. Every morning, like every time we get together, I start, welcome, quick wins. Any quick wins we want to share real quick that I know of. Boom, share that. But then each member share their stats and then actions completed for the week. So that's the goal and the integrity. And then group calculates individual and group percentages, so we know what's the total. and then open discussion. So I take one by one. What worked, what didn't, obstacles, things like that, we help fix. Boom, next person. Training segment, if we have one, we do it. Again, on Zoom, that's too long. That's from my experience. And set next week's action steps and close. That's it. Oh, and this last one, I saw the cameras up. This last one is, I want to make sure that Kathy, she's here, she's shared her goals, and I say, Kathy, you're done. You explain all your thing, perfect. Are you ready for next week? Do you have your list of tasks for this coming week? Oh, well, I worked on it. You better finish this tonight. Like, make sure you have your list. All right, because you don't want to wait like 2-3 days down the road and say, oh, finally I came up with these 8 things I need to do this week. You need to be ready for the new week. Okay, so that's what we do. Understanding goal and integrity, I shared that with you before. Okay, which is the goal, like what percentage of your goal, but what's your percentage of integrity? Integrity is just the task you said you would do this week. What's the percentage of those that you completed? Okay, so that's what it is. And group stats create healthy pressure and motivation. Healthy pressure and motivation. Why do I say healthy pressure? Because it puts the pressure on me to perform because it helps the whole team. It's not a competition. I'm not competing against Chris. Chris has his own goals. I have my own goals. They can be the same, but it can be different. It doesn't matter. But I'm not in competition with him. I want him to perform because the team performs. Right? So that's how it works. Using statistics to drive growth. So each person shares their percentage, integrity each week. Group averages are calculated. Numbers show trends. So who needs support, where to adjust actions, celebrate improvements, not just perfection. Use stats as a mirror, not a weapon. Okay. And handling challenges during the sprint. So you will face some resistance, some setbacks. People set their goals, but then they're totally off track. That will happen. That will be part of the game. Busy weeks, yes, especially at this time of the year. But some people told me, oh, this is not a good time. I got so much going on. This is a perfect time to do this because you have so much going on. You need to learn how to do this business when you're busy. Because do you plan to be busy in the future? Yes. Do you plan to make money in the future? Yes. You better learn how to be successful and do the business when you're busy if you want to make money forever. So this is a good time to do it. All right. Focus on problem solving, not blaming. Ask, what can I change this week to move forward? Use the group's ideas, experience to find solutions. Recommit to your goals instead of lowering them automatically. So keeping it the sprint fun and engaging. Celebrate wins each day, each week. I love that. Big, small, doesn't matter. Share success stories and lesson learned. You can actually take some of that you're learning from this, and you can create content. I read this book from Alex Hormozy, and he said there's different piece of content that he creates, and he said it's far past. So Chris, he was saying that he likes like what I write. So here's what I do for my posts. I don't create like everyone's content. I create my own content out of far past. So experiences from my far past, recent past, in the last month, 2 months, and then present, right now, what's happening right now. So what's happening right now could be a piece of content. I learned something. Someone shared a challenge. Here's how we overcame it. I can post it. I can talk about this. So this helps you. Use recognition contests or small incentives if appropriate. Keep meetings on time and focus. Super important because otherwise people get bored, right? It needs to be quick. We do our stuff. You got 10 minutes. Okay, move on. Create a culture of encouragement and growth, right? And so that's what you want to do. And of sprint review. So what goals did I achieve or get closer to? Because sometimes people don't realize, but man, they really advance. Even if they haven't hit 100% of their goals, what if they advance to 75%? That's far better than where they were before they started. All right. So what habits or skills improve the most? What did I learn about myself and the way I work? What will I repeat, improve, or drop for the next sprint? Who grew the most and why? Celebrate them. There you go. So that's what I wanted to share with you. lots, lots of stuff,
And
but
you're getting so many comments. Everybody's loving this, Stephane. I mean, everybody's seeing what, I mean, guys, this is a great training. I don't know if you can drop that. Everybody's asking for the slides. Guys, this is going to be posted as well. I mean, Kristen will put this on all the Facebook links, and of course, there's those that know her website, her YouTube page, Kristen's Atlas Fitness web. She'll have it on there as well. But Stephane, though, this is, people need to realize this is the way you became a leader, by helping your team. That's what this is about. And it
it's
doesn't have to
simple.
be. And I think
Yeah.
the most important thing that you said, that I hope people realize, you weren't doing that. We've got a couple hundred people on today. You were doing these with 5 to 6 people.
Yeah.
Become a leader with a small team. People think you've got to have a massive team to start doing this. Get your inner circle with 3 or 4 people. That's how it all starts.
Yeah.
One person at a time. Accountability. I've seen so many comments. I didn't mean to interrupt. I took pictures, guys. There's one thing to remember. I've done this 24 years. I took a picture of every slide because I'm so impressed with this attitude. I love this. You keep on.
Yeah. It's something that you will do once and you'll repeat. You don't need to repeat, like when you complete one, you do another one, you do another one. You may do that like 2 times a year or 3 times a year. It's fine. But 6 weeks, it's short. But it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you going. It clarifies things. And so you love doing it for yourself, but you love doing it to help your team advance, gain confidence, and see that they're moving forward. Because how many times, like we do the post, we sell a couple boxes, but then we compare to others, right? We look at others' success and we say, oh man, I'm so far. So far, like they sold 73 boxes. I sold 3. I'm a failure. No, that person sold 3 initially at some point. But when you do this, then you reach 100% of your goal. Even if it was to sell 3 boxes, you reach 100% of your goal. You're a goal achiever. That's the identity we need to shift so that then you take control of your business. So that's what I wanted to give you, is to give you that control so that you guys can go and achieve your goals.
I hope you guys are really listening closely to some of the things he just said, because we want to compare ourselves to somebody else too much. But the most important probably thing he said was how many years he's done this before he had success. And that's the thing that we see him sitting here talking about how huge the team was. And that's what people look at me, but they don't know that I went through struggles, wondering why I wasn't good enough, why I wasn't getting where I needed to be. My own team, I called it my team, my downline, what we like to call it, was doing better than me. What was I doing wrong? Everybody goes through that. If they become, but most of the problem is, and it's no different than my daughter talks about at the gym. Everybody comes to the gym with this attitude they're going to get in shape like that person. They don't realize that person has been coming 3 years consistently, or 5 years consistently. And so it's no different than this business. Obviously, gym is not my thing, so I'm not in shape. But business is important to me in my financial world. And what's the difference? I continue to be consistent, and I hold myself responsible. And you talked about that. We can't, God, you've got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I won't change. And if I won't change, I've got to do something different. And that's what these are these are just great ways. I'm love it. I mean, I'm getting so many comments about the chat rooms blowing up. Is there any chance you can share the file? If not, guys, you can take pictures on the screen. That file was more of just a guideline. It was not really like you're supposed to do that with your team. He was wanting you to know how to do this and build a thing, and you build your own slides from that. But guys, this is amazing training, Stephane. My phone is vibrating so much. I'm glad I'm not on the screen. I'm not really good at running these YouTubes. I'm glad to have so many help. I mean, with Paul and Sharon and Val always helps me on Saturdays. I've got others that are out this week because there's so many super Saturdays. But you don't have to be the most techy person, but you got to be the most consistent with the things that work. Not with the things you want to do. Those are activities. And that's why we have the IPA call, the income producing call. It's because you do the things that work. Any parting words, last things you want to say? I mean, I just love all of the things you said today. We're going to have you back again and reiterate all this again. So now I've already have it. When do you come back?
Yeah, I'm happy to come back, of course. Well, I think that the only thing, because I don't want to distract you, there's so many things that we can talk about. The one thing that's important that you need to retain today is start to build that momentum. Yes, to the end of the year, but towards things. Black Friday, it's coming. Black Friday is coming. Like it's what, 2 weeks approximately.
Yep.
And so the most important thing you can do right now is create those connections, right, with everyone. Like your goal is, can I reach 500 people? Maybe that's the goal, 500, but just a quick message, just reconnect. Hey, hello, hey, how are you? So this way you don't look stupid or like you're trying to be promoting your stuff when Black Friday happens. If I haven't talked with Bev for years and then I reach out to her and say, hey, Bev, we got this, promotion. She's like, that's all he wants, money from me, right? But if I've been in touch with Bev 2 weeks prior, a week before, hey, how are you? How's things? Then she see a promotion, something, she likes it, I message her. That's easy. So this is the most you can do right now. The best for your business is reconnecting with people. Do that right now. It's going to change your business, but it's also going to build towards the beginning of the year where everybody's coming up with resolutions. So even if you don't sell tons like you may want on Black Friday, you may sell a lot, but you could sell more. It doesn't matter because you're building up towards the new year where people are going to be even more ready for a change, either in career or in health, and you're there. You've already made those connections. So that's what I suggest you do.